right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thank you, JT, very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, nighttime edition. We were on the air for a couple of hours after the game today with Chris Hoke and took your calls. If you did not get through and you would like to do so right now, this is your time to do it at 412-575-2600 on social media at KD Pomp. We'll get it done, and we'd like to talk to you about what happened today, which includes a Steeler win and a big one for them. They didn't want to go 1-2, especially against the early part of the schedule, and they avoid that by winning today 21-14. And it was one of those games that had a lot of ebb and flow to it. I mean, it started like it was going to be a rout in favor of the Steelers, as you know, and it didn't turn out that way. It was right down to the wire. Those two coaches going at each other. Mike Vrabel's had not much success at all against Mike Tomlin, who stresses winning the turnover battle. And boy, did they today. They had 5 takeaways of New England. Ramondre Stevens fumbles here. He was known for his fumbles last year, led the NFL with 7. And that resulted in a touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell, 7-0, just like that. 2nd and 9 then on the next drive. The Steelers move right down the field, 90 yards. And it's DK Metcalf, and he pulls in the 509th career touchdown pass of Aaron Rodgers' career. That moves him ahead of Brett Favre, and a good job going up. And they trust each other, those two, and you can tell, and both feet are down. That's a touchdown. So it was 14-0, and you thought this game was maybe over until Hunter Henry got in the end zone, and Drake May drove right down the field, 80 yards, make that 90 on 8 plays. And then right after that, before halftime, that was maybe the play of the game. They had driven all the way down, only to have Brandon Echols on a deflection from Cam Hayward intercept that ball at the goal line. Second half, the fumbles continued. However, they continued to overcome them. This is Henry again gets in to make it 14-14. Another big play here. Herbig forces the fumble. Watt recovers the fumble. And the Steelers are back in business. And this one was big because they needed to have the ball back with a chance to win it. And after they recover, the Steelers did just that. And it's Rodgers this time going to Calvin Austin, who makes a nice adjustment into the end zone, 17-yard score, and that's how the Steelers pull out a 21-14 win. And sure, there are things you can talk about, and we did after the game, and things that happened during that game that you'd like to see change. Mike Tomlin knows about those things as well, because their statistics generally, aside from the final score, are not in favor of them. In fact, New England had more first downs, 26-17 than the Steelers. They owned the time of possession game. They also were 6 of 13 on third down. They were 4 for 5 on fourth down. One of them I'd like to get your take on, when Mike Vrabel went from his own 15-yard line. They were down in the game, and it could have really led to an easy score for the Steelers, and somehow they got it, even though I thought the Steelers had that play diagnosed. But he was in a gambling mood. Maybe he sensed an opportunity to get something going there for a team that was down 14-0. But that is a big gamble, and if it doesn't work, you wonder what the pushback would have been by fans up there. Although Mike Vrabel's first-year coach, he had no chance of being fired or anything of that nature. But point is, that's a risky play at that juncture of the game, but they got it done. All these other numbers are in favor of New England as well, and that's something the Steelers would like to change. Although, when you have long drives like they have given up so far this season, if you can make a play at any one of those plays, the longer the drive goes, the more plays that you have to execute as a team, there's a chance you're going to make a turnover. And the Steelers have stressed that, and they did it today 5 different times. They also sacked Drake May 5 times. They got a lot of pressure. I believe 23 pressures I counted. And that's a large amount, especially for a second-year quarterback. And I think they got to Drake May a little bit today that made him think about doing some things later in the game. There was one sack that I really, and we talked to Andrew Filipponi about this also, and it was, forget in the first half that he was double-teamed by Watt and Herbig. He went down to the ground very hard, and supposed to have a concussion expert from the NFL every one of these games. And you would never have known that today, because you can tell that Drake May grabbed his head immediately as he hit the turf. And nothing was stopped. I thought he might be yanked out of the game at that point, and he was not. He continued, and he played well considering. But that was a hard hit that he took. And normally they're supposed to, err on the side of caution on those plays, and they did not do that in that game. So we'll talk about that. Again, it's 412-575-2600. And the next opponent, which is the Minnesota Vikings in Dublin, Ireland. They were really good today, especially defensively, but they ran the ball well as they beat the Cincinnati Bengals, who, man, without their star quarterback, who knows what that team is going to be like, because their defense still is pretty bad, and they showed that today. A lot to get into, and that would include the Pirates. We'll talk about them with a week left in the season. What changes would you like to see made, and the futures of some of these people like Ben Cherington? What do you think it is? At 412-575-2600. Call us, share your opinions. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Hey, we're here 7 nights a week, 10:35 every start time, KDKA+. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. It comes from the Steelers, of course. Aaron Rodgers passing Brett Favre, career touchdown pass number 509. He's been around for a while. He had 2 of those today. And that was just a case that he believed his player was better than New England's. It was good coverage, but he put it up there for DK Metcalf, and that was the one that put him in the record books ahead of Brett Favre. All right, it's 412-575-2600. Want to hear from you, so let's get right to the phone lines, and we'll begin with Brian in North Huntington, who joins us right now. Hello, Brian.
How you doing, Bob?
Good. What's going on?
Okay. I want to talk about the offense here for a second. I'm quite sure you remember this because you've been around for a long time, but back when Cowher had the Steelers, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was this criticism of throw the ball down the field. My question is, are we ever going to see anything different from the Arthur Smith offense? Like, is this all there is to see? They didn't use Darnell Washington today, and I don't know how many times I found myself yelling at the TV screen, throw the ball down the field. Rodgers was in a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and long, I don't know how many times, and he's throwing dump passes to Jalen Warren. I guess there really isn't anybody open down the field, but the point is like, are we ever going to see like a Calvin Austin streak down the seam with an open right 70 slot hook and go or something like that? Come on, is this all there is to see?
No, there's more to it. I just think it's about the coverage that you saw. Although coming into this game, Brian, I really felt that was a weak spot of New England's defense is down the field coverage. They had given up 677 passing yards in their first 2 games. So they were ripe for more of that opportunity, I thought, going down the field. We saw last week on that throw that was incomplete to Pat Freiermuth that Aaron Rodgers on the roll, he still can put it 50 yards down the field right on the money. They haven't done it as much as I thought they would today, but that maybe had something to do with their coverage. Not sure, because I got to look back at some of this video just to double check all of it. But I will say this, their offensive line did not allow a sack today. Technically, there were some pressures. He was hit once, but it was offset with a penalty against New England. But yeah, I think that's got to be the next level that we see here. As far as Darnell Washington, he was in the game, and he was they called it pass interference in the end zone prior to the Steelers score. So they did target him the one time, and I'd like to see more of that. But as I said in the sportscast, Brian, they're 6 for 7 in the red zone this year. That's far better than what they did last year, by far. So, you take the improvement when you can get it. And I thought I would have seen more in the middle of the field, not unlike what New England did to them. Hunter Henry has been a killer for them over the years. He had 3 touchdowns in that game here in Pittsburgh when Bailey Zappi was the quarterback, and then today 2 more on 8 catches. Even Austin Hooper, the other tight end, got in for 2. The Steelers have a lot of tight ends. They want to use more of them. They only saw 2 receivers get into the score sheet today, and that would be Metcalf and Austin. Nobody else from the receiving corps made a catch. So there's still room for improvement. There's no question about that, and I think we'll see that as time goes on. All right, back to the lines. We got Larry in Uniontown. Hey, Larry, what's up?
Hey, Bob. What I'd like to say is, if the fans and you think that this team right now is not very good. This team, they still cannot stop the run. The people run in the secondary. They're open in the middle everywhere, and we cannot throw the ball down the middle. You can't throw a pass over 5 yards. It's always behind the line of scrimmage or a little down and out. This team is not very good.
Well, they have to definitely do better in that department. Both of those, what you said. Number one, stopping the run. I will say, if you factor in Drake May and his scrambling ability, you're going to see the total go over 100 yards because he made a couple of nice plays in that regard. But as far as the running backs are concerned, a baby step of improvement, only 74 yards rushing for the New England running backs. Now, the good thing the Steelers did was knock a couple of them out of the game because of turnovers. They were ball hawking today, and that was one of the things that they were talking about this week, is that the New England Patriots, some of their players have had history of letting the ball loose And they went after Ramondre Stevenson more than anybody. He had 7 fumbles last year, 2 of them today, never returned after that. And they had to go to Gibson. He then fumbled. So I think the Steelers generally saw a little of improvement in that department. Do you want to see 119 yards rushing? No. Certainly that has to clean up. And I think next week, Carson Wentz, even though he still has some mobility, is not like he was as a rookie when he came into the league. So we'll have to see improvement in all those departments. But hey, they got to win on the road. That's never easy in the NFL. So they're 2-1 with a chance to go 3-1 before their bye week. Back to the lines we go. It's Bill and Carrick. Hello, Bill. How are you?
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good. What's up, man?
Hey, Steelers got a tough game next week at Minnesota at Ireland. Minnesota's 1.5 points favorite. I'd have to take Minnesota.
Well, I mean, it just depends on what you see. I think they're going to be it's going to be a home game for the Steelers, essentially. There'll be more Steeler fans there than Viking fans, I can tell you that. And they should be inspired to go out there and play, given what it means to the Steelers organization. However, Minnesota is a good team. I mean, they didn't win 14 games last year for nothing, even though they're without J.J. McCarthy, who I think honestly had one good quarter and struggled the rest. I expected a little more from him. For them, they got a veteran in Carson Wentz back there, and he got his game of activity today. That should help him going into next week. That'll be a tough one to call, but I think it could be as close as they all are. The NFL, if you look around the league, you will see that is a week-to-week proposition. Who would have thought the Browns would beat the Packers? Who would have thought the Eagles, down by 19 late in the third quarter, would come back and beat the Rams the way they did? And there are other crazy scores out there as well. So, I mean, you just try to get a win any way you can get it. Do they have to make improvements? Absolutely they do. They have too many things that they're not doing well enough. But overall, I saw improvement in the fact that the star players on this team came to play. Cam Hayward, I thought, had the best game of anyone. He single-handedly stopped 2 scoring drives that would have resulted in touchdowns. It was the play right before halftime when he got his big hand up and deflected it into the hands of Brandon Echols. That could have been a touchdown. And quite frankly, on that sequence, I was surprised New England didn't run the ball. They were first and goal from the 3. They had 3 timeouts, and they never ran the ball. Now, maybe they were afraid that whoever was in there was going to fumble, because that was the theme of the day. They threw 3 times. It did not work. Cam made a good play there. And then he had the forced fumble also later. I believe it was Gibson who was going toward the goal line. Would have scored, but he got the ball out, and they recovered that as well. All right, Kirk and Manor, you're up next. What's up, Kirk? How are you?
Hey, Mr. Pompeani, how are you this evening?
Good, thank you.
Saying hi. You're welcome. Hey, anyway, is there any option on the offensive line that they can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy at all?
Well, again, they did not.
Tell me what you think.
I think they're going to have to. He's, you can see when the pocket collapses, he's not able as he once was to just immediately get out of there. He still has some ability to scramble. We saw that last week and again today. But generally speaking, they got to keep him upright. And it's just, this team came in New England with 9 sacks. They led the NFL. I know it's only 2 weeks, but they had the most sacks. They did not get a sack today. So the Steelers took care of business there, which I thought was a step in the right direction. As this game went on, the offensive line was not opening up holes like they did on the first 2 drives. It has to be more consistent. So all that has to change as they move forward. But, yeah, Aaron Rodgers has to be protected, and you don't want to get him beat up at this juncture, because you can see what he does when he gets into the red zone. Last year, he had one of the best red zone numbers in the NFL with the Jets, 5-12. And this time, he starts this season with the Steelers 6 of 7 in there. That's pretty good. One more call before we go to the break. Let's go to J.D., who joins us in Ross Township. Hey, J.D., what's up?
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Go ahead, J.D.
All right, you were talking about the Pirates and what they need to do, how I know it's off the subject, but I got to say right now, I think Ben Cherington's future is very bleak at this point. I would say right now, you've got to get rid of him. You got to get a new GM in here. The bigger question is, what are you going to do this winter in spending money? I mean, does Mitch Keller stay here and be a part of this rotation in 2026? I mean, there's a lot of questions facing this team going in the offseason, I feel.
You're right, J.D., and that's going to be the biggest offseason they've had under Ben Cherington if he's still here. And my gut will tell me he will be here, because I think if they wanted to make a move, they probably would have done it with the Shelton situation, but they didn't. Maybe that's a separate situation. If I'm Ben Cherington, I'll go into the meeting with Bob Nutting and say, look what I have. I assembled maybe the best young pitching staff in all of baseball, and that's not an understatement. I think it can be. We saw Bubba Chandler last night, Braxton Ashcraft, both look dynamic. Burrows looks good when he's in there, and then Skeens and Jared Jones coming back, and you're right. They may have to trade Mitch Keller, who is an innings eater and somebody who gives you quality starts more times than not. They have to, whether it's by spending or whether it's by trading, get bats, lots of bats. It would have made a difference in this year's team. We got to take a break, come back with more of your phone calls right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Don't go away. 35 KDKA-TV, it's the #1 Cochrane Sports Showdown. Andrew Filipponi, Will Graves, and Chris Adamski will join me. A lot to get over and talk about. Let's go back to the phone lines here and squeeze as many more calls as we can. Phyllis is in Irwin, and now she's on the sports call. Go ahead, Phyllis.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to know why the Pirates or whoever owns Three River or runs the stadium, built the stadium, why could they not tell Bud Nutting either put a good team in this stadium or you can move out? Well,
you don't want that to happen, Phyllis. Thank you. The whole idea is when they built the stadium, and taxpayer funded as well, the goal was to put together a team that would take advantage of the new digs. And so far, there's only happened 3 of the years it's been here, and none of them resulted in playoff series wins. So, yeah, the onus is on them, and hopefully this offseason, this is it. I mean, basically, they have 2 years, in my estimation, of Paul Skeens. If they don't sign him, and I don't think they will, the money will get very hefty, although they could make an offer to absorb, arbitration years, and maybe he'd be willing to take it. But the bottom line, it's on them. And you'll know a lot about the way they're thinking here in this offseason coming up. Let's go to Tom in Beaver Falls. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hi, Bob. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good to, I'm trying to replay the last touchdown. And you said there was an adjustment made on the last catch, and it looked like, everybody, it was going to the inside, and all of a sudden the ball showed up on the outside.
Right.
Do you think that was by design with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, normally, yeah, back shoulder throws, he makes a lot of those. But I thought at the time, Calvin Austin was kind of leaning toward the inside. He had to get his body back to the outside, and the defender had no chance. It was actually pretty good coverage, I thought, by the defender, but the ball was in the right place, and Austin adjusted to it. Bill in Greensburg. You're on, Bill. Go right ahead.
Hey, Bob. How you doing, buddy?
Good. What's up, man?
Hey, 2 quick comments on Ben Cherington's little thing with the press. Connor Griffin, when they asked about him possibly coming back, do you honestly believe he said we have to be very, very cautious with him? It's like, here we go again. And then the second point I wanted to make was when they asked him, what his goal is next year, he didn't say we want to win a division, we want to win a championship. He said, I want to see us get more wins.
Well, I mean, listen, first of all, Connor Griffin is on a fast track. I'm not going to derail him if he's on a fast track. Yeah, I think he can start here next year. He may be one of the bats they're looking for. If it doesn't work as to start the season, then you can always send him back down to AAA. He's got a thick skin, and he strikes me as someone who would be okay with that. And then, as far as winning, they have to get to the playoffs. Or if he's still here and they don't, then it'll lead to the end of his era here, although it should probably happen before then. We'll find out in the next couple of days. That's going to do it. Good night, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow.